Hi and welcome to my channel, and today I thought I would talk about the BTCC, and I thought I would start off with talking about last weekend's Croft racing. I thought it was a great weekend of racing. I did think there's a few incidents in terms of driving standards, but I thought overall it was a great weekend, and to start off my YouTube channel I thought I'll go through the weekend's racing. So here we go. I thought the best way to go about this, I would go through each individual driver and give them a little talk about how I thought their weekend went. So we'll start off with Colin Turkington. So Colin Turkington got a P3 in race 1, which I think was very well. I think he was hoping for better from race 2 and 3. Unfortunately, went off the first corner on race 2, which was a surprise mistake from Turkington. And in race 3, he got a collision in the first corner, which broke his suspension. Luckily, he did get back out and managed to get a point for fastest lap. But overall, it was a poor weekend for Turkington with just a 1 podium. He is, of course, known as the King of Crofts, so I think we definitely disappointed with the race this weekend. Definitely known as a rear-wheel drive track normally, and it didn't seem to quite go that way this weekend. So I think he'll be hoping for a lot better next weekend at Snetterton. Next up is teammate Tom Oliphant, qualified P4. Fortunately, caught up on the first lap in the incident between Butcher and Sutton, only finished P11. Then got a P7 in race 2 and P6 in race 3. So not a great weekend from Tom there, but picked up consecutive points. That keeps him in P6 in the championship, so he's not far off the title fight, but he's not quite involved in it yet. Next up is the Halford Yuasa Racing Hondas of Dan Camish and Matt Neal. Dan Camish qualifying a poor P14, managed to get up to P10 in race 1, got a P5 in race 2, and a P2 in race 3. So he managed to consistently get up the points throughout the race weekend. I've got a total of 34 points and moved up to second in the championship behind Dash Sutton now. So he's definitely in title fight. Dan Camish doing what he did last season, getting there quicker towards the end of the season. He's definitely in title fight. 2 good tracks with Snetterton and Bonus Hatch coming up. So we'll be happy. And Matt Neal got a P7, a P2, and a P4. That was a great weekend for Matt Neal. You know, he didn't seem quite near the front as much as we did, so I think he'll be happy with that. Did actually finish P1 in race 2, but was demoted after his collision with Cook, which I think was an opportunistic move. It wasn't quite on, but he got to give it to him for at least giving it a go. That keeps him in P8 in the championship. Next up is Tom Ingram. His Saturday originally looked very good, qualified P1, but unfortunately failed the ride height check, which got him kicked out of qualifying altogether. So right at the back, P26. Great race 1, getting all the way up to P13. Even better race 2, get up to P4. And then in race 3, you've actually went on and won the race. So what started off wasn't great with qualifying, looked bad by the end of qualifying when he failed the ride height, and looked even better by the end of the weekend when he managed to finish it off with a race win. So that's Tom Ingram 4th in the championship now. He's definitely in the title fight. On to the BTC Racing Hondas now. First up, my driver of the weekend, Josh Cook, who got promoted to P1 from qualifying after Tom Ingram and Senna Proctor both got kicked out of qualifying, got started P1. Carried on P1, won race 1 with fastest lap. Race 2 actually finished second on the road, but after his collision with Matt Neal was then promoted back up to P1, so 2 wins of the weekend for Josh Cook, and then a P8 in race 3. Overall, great weekend. 50 points in total. Managed to finally get into the top 10 in the championship standings after what has been some bad luck for Josh. That's a great weekend for him. I'm sure he'll be hoping for more points in Saturday next weekend. Tom Chilton, they got 2 P6s in race 1 and 2 and a P3 in race 2. So Tom Chilton very consistent there, or very quick this weekend, as he always does. A good weekend for him, and unfortunately a poor weekend for Michael Crease. Problems in all 3 races. It did classify as P22 race 1, but although he was up down and didn't finish race 2 and 3, what looked like he was running away with Jack Sears at one point, down in P4 in the Jack Sears Championship now. He's about 40 points behind Bobby Thompson, so not looking too good for Michael, unfortunately. To the motor-based Fords now, and first up Roy Butcher. I don't know how that car he was even on the road this weekend after a crash at Silverstone. Somehow they managed to get the car fixed on the road, qualified P10. Finished race 1 as a P5. Originally finished P4 on the road, but after collision on lap 1 with Sutton, Positions were reversed at the end in the P5. Race 2 went flying off at the first lap of the chicane. Managed to get back to P19 to get a point for fastest lap in the end. And then race 3 was P11. So not a great weekend overall Butcher, but it was a surprise just to see him racing. But P5 in the championship now looks like he's falling away a little bit from those first four. I'm sure he's not completely out of it yet, but he looks like he's falling away. Ollie Jackson had a P14, a DNF in race 2, and it was P12 in race 3. He did get he was in that little collision at the start of race 3 with Teckington, and I thought it was there and avoiding someone else's accident. Unfortunately caught Teckington's suspension. It's not a great weekend, unfortunately, for Jackson after his race win the weekend before. And Andy Nee got a P21 and 2 P16s just outside the points for him. Next up, Ash Sutton, champion the leader, racing for Laser Tools Racing, qualified P6. Looked very quick in race 1, got knocked off unfortunately by Butcher, ended up back about P11. Managed to fight his way back to P5, and then the race his positions with Butcher were reversed again, so P4. Got quick again in race 2. In third place, tried to go past Jake Hill into the hairpin. Unfortunately, made contact on the way out, and that gave Ash Sutton a puncture. He's going to hold it back around the track again. Managed to get a new tyre, but ended up P20 a lap behind. And then in race 3, managed to find his way all the way back up to P5. So it wasn't a great weekend for Ash Sutton. Really should have been probably a couple of podiums in there. But he does come away as the championship leader. Does normally go well at Snetterton as well, so we'll be hoping for more results there. Teammate Aidan Moffat did only start P15, lost the place in race 1 to P16, and a P11 and a P10 in race 2 and 3. Just doesn't seem to have the ability in that Infinity that Sutton has, but he's obviously trying to get used to rear-wheel drive. I've only been driving for the past year, so I'm sure he will get quicker. Next, on to the MB Motorsport Hondas. Starting with Jake Hill, managed to start P2, kept that P2 in race 1, finished P3 in the end in race 2, and a P7 in race 3. So, great weekend for Jake Hill. He had some issues start of the season, but seems to be picked up now. Obviously, involved in that race 2 incident with Sutton, but still got P3. Just outside top 10 in the points, P11 now, but he's doing very well, Jake Hill. And teammate Sam Osborne started P17 for race 1, but unfortunately retired. P14 and P15 isn't quite there with Jake in terms of pace, but at least he did pick up a few points this weekend. So Sicily Motorsport, Mercedes, Alan Morgan got a P12. They got P9 in race 1, and then 2 P13s. Just doesn't seem to have had quite the pace he had in that win in Alton Park. He just seems to lag him behind a bit. Jack Butel started P23. DNF in race 1, first DNF all season, so it's been a good season for finishes for Jack Butel, but unfortunately that is his first DNF. And I got a P17 and a P20 in race 2 and 3. And Stephen Jelly started P16 for race 1, finished P15, managed to get himself into P10 in race 2, and then unfortunately did have the spin off in race 3. Ended up right at the back, but then managed to get himself back up to P14, so he picked up some more points there for Stephen Jelly. On to the Audis now, and for me, my surprise star of the weekend, which is Bobby Thompson, managed a P5 in qualifying, which was really good. 2 great P8s in race 1 and 2, and it looked like he was probably going to be on for another top 10 finish in race 3, but unfortunately had that massive accident, lots of rolled the car quite a few times, a lot of damage. I have seen some pictures. It looks like the car is going to be ready again for this weekend, which is great news. But unfortunately, what kind of by the end of the weekend for Bobby Thompson, but that car looks super quick. Bobby Thompson looked really good. So he's P1 in Jack Sears now. I said he's about 40 points ahead of Michael Crease, ahead of his nearest rival, Carl Baldley. He's around about 30 points ahead of Carl Baldley, so it looks like he's got well in hand. Onto the Hyundais now. Senna Proctor, again, he was number 1, qualified P2, just qualified from qualifying for failing the race. Started at the back with Tom Ingram, started P25, got himself up to P18, race 1, and 2 P17s. Sorry, 2 P9s in race 2 and 3. So Another one that probably should have had a better weekend if he hadn't failed the ride height check. But did get 2 P9s, decent points. And then Chris Smiley got a P13, race around 2 P12s and a P19 is not a great weekend. Chris Smiley doesn't seem to be, I'm not sure he's quite getting the handle on that Hyundai as well as Senna Proctor is. And finally, moving on to the Team Hard drivers. So Jack Goff started P18 in race 1 P17. Race 2, unfortunately, started from the pit lane. Another issue, unfortunately, for Jack Goff this season. Up to P18 again. And then finished P18 in race 3. I did notice on the safety car, he was P18. And for some reason, coming out of the hairpin, after the safety car had gone in, he was for some reason at the back. I'm not sure if there's an incident behind the safety car. I'm a massive Jack Goff fan, I'll say that now. He's my favourite driver. But he just doesn't have the luck this season. So I'm not sure what happened behind the safety car, whether he was pushed off, whether something happened, but he did seem to lose places. Goes to Snetterton next, and now it's been a good track for him. 2 race wins there, got his first ever win with MG back in 2015, so hopefully he'll have a better weekend there. Mike Bushell, who came in to replace Tom Onslow Cole, qualified P20, had the success rate for that, and race 1, where he finished P19, managed to get his first point of the season, P15 race 2, being managed driven the Vauxhall for 2 rounds, so a good point for him, and a P17 in race 3, and that was actually he became the Jack Sears Trophy winner for that weekend, so that off for Bobby Thompson cost him the Jack Sears Trophy this weekend. Mike Bushell won that, it was great for him. So Carl Borley, he started P19 in race 1, started the race P19, finished P20, did start race 2, he had the turbo issue, and finished race 3 in P22, it was about P14 at one point, and then he went off. I'm not quite sure the reason was from going off, unfortunately. Like he's won whether he was pushed into the chicane. So unfortunately not quite going right for Carl Borley. I'm sure he's still getting used to that new car he's driving this season. He'll be better next season. And finally Nick Hamilton, unfortunately, he started P24 for race 1. Didn't finish race 1. Didn't start race 2, unfortunately, with gearbox issue, and P21 in race 3. Ever since that crash at Open Park, as Nick's come back, it was he missed Knock Hill. That video doesn't seem to be working for him. A lot of breakdowns, unfortunately, which is a shame for Nick Hamilton. And the final mention in the championship for Jack Constable, who's been driving the PMR Vauxhall this weekend. Unfortunately, took ill on Saturday night and missed his chance of racing, which is a shame, unfortunately, which is a sad thing to see. And I think James Gornall unfortunately has pulled out the championship, whether it's a sponsorship money issue, I'm not sure. And we will be seeing Paul Rivette take his place this weekend at Snetterton instead. To summarise my thoughts of the weekend, obviously I think driver of the weekend for me was Josh Cook. I think my surprise driver of the weekend was Bobby Thompson. He looks so good in that Audi. Hopefully it is fully fixed for this weekend at Snetterton and he can get some more good points again. So got Paul Rivette as a teammate, so we're going to be a one-car team this weekend. I think disappointment probably Colin Turkington. Just that one podium P3 in race 1. Unfortunately, incident to race 2 and 3. I'm sure he'll lose a bit of weight, which will probably help him at Snetterton. I wouldn't mind seeing him win the first race, but unfortunately there wasn't a way to go. So yeah, exciting weekend this weekend at Snetterton. Always good racing there. Looking forward to what of your thoughts, driver of the day. Who do you think probably should have done a little better? Thoughts overall? What is your thoughts overall on the weekend and the championship? If you've made it this far, well done. Well done for understanding my accent and my voice. Well done for that. Thank you for watching, and I will be making another video shortly this week. I'm in preview to Snetterton. Goodbye.